Right, it's 10:30, and you know what time it is? It's time for James Martin. I'm excited about this one. He's just talking to some of his fans at the moment, so I might start the recipe for him. But no, I'm very excited about this. I'm actually filming with James on Wednesday. So yeah, go home tomorrow, do my prep, and I'm going to go down to his house. So it's a bit weird to be on the other side and
For me?
to be asking you what you're doing.
What am I doing? Cows, liver and onions. This is a bit surreal, isn't it, this?
It is. It is a bit of a sliding doors moment to be interviewing you,
Yes.
the best in the business at
I
it.
don't know about the best in the business.
I think so. There'll be a lot of chefs here today who really enjoy coming on your show.
Yeah, it's the TV side of it's a bit surreal. It's I never went into it. I never asked for it. It's just morphed over the years. But Saturday show 20 years now, television 32 years, so 30 coming up to 33 years.
It's incredible. I mean, I think you obviously you know what the secret sauce is for success in TV. But from what I can see coming onto the show is, you know, in the world where you're doing TV, it can probably feel a bit like, oh, I've got to turn up, do this, go to the next thing. But when you go to James's house, it's kind of like this, but there's a glass of wine, his dog's just down there watching, seeing if any tidbits are going to come down. And everybody in the crew are the loveliest people. So actually for me, it's like I spend 24 hours out of my business. I just go down and have the best time ever. And I think probably that is your secret to success. That comes through on the TV, I think.
I think you have to, in any business, you build up a team. You have to have a vision and a look forward. But I think without the team, without that building that team around you, it doesn't work. And I think I've been quite fortunate with that, to have a great team around me over the years, and they've gone off to do other things. And television's the same. You know, you've got highly talented people who are involved in making a show like that, which costs a lot of money, you know. I mean, next week, we're filming tomorrow, for instance, they're setting up as we speak now. That's £250,000 outgoing this week.
Wow.
It's just for 5 days. So if you look at that as in a restaurant, that's probably what a small kitchen would cost now, but we're doing that every week. That's what we're spending. So you need the appropriate people around you to look after that and to understand it. And yeah, we've got some talent.
That's incredible. I mean, I think when you work as a chef, and everybody here works in the industry, everyone works very, very hard. But I think the television industry is one where people do some serious hours, don't they?
But the hours can be quite brutal. The 20, you know, we've done many 20-hour shifts on the studio. That before you guys arrive, there are guys who are in there at 6 o'clock, 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning, and we're still there. We can be there at midnight as well. So it's the hours are still pretty brutal.
There's a lot of young chefs here today, a lot of young people in the hospitality industry. And my thing is, when I go down and spend some time with James, I just quiz him, because he's probably been, in my mind, the most successful chef in the UK over the last sort of 30 years, because how he's managed to create the TV show, but then all of the commercial work that he's done. And I think anyone who's starting out in their career, if you manage to get 5 minutes with James today, I think ask him any question about how to build a career. It's really important. Because you're also giving away a few books today, I think.
Yeah, I mean, but with Yorkshireman and with the Scottish company, Albert Bartlett, we're giving away 250 books. So you get a book.
So you said Yorkshiremen are tight.
Okay. We're going to give them away. But
so if you come over to the Albert Bartlett stand later, James will be signing his potato books, which is an amazing book. I've got it. It's my second favourite to butter. I actually quite like cheese as well. That's a good one.
Cheese. Yeah, well, this is what was this book, 33, something like that? 30. I know. The next one's going to be this. The actual book that's out next month is the Saturday Show cookbook.
Oh wow!
So that'll be book 38.
38 books.
38 in.
Wow. I wrote one about 7 years ago, and I never got around to writing another.
Well, you need, again, it's a good team around you. And I said, we've got amazing, this lady here is Sam Head. You know Sam because she's based at my house. She's never on camera. She hides around the back. But she's an absolute legend in terms of our industry. And she's worked with me for 30 odd years doing all manner of different bits and pieces. But she looks after the books and the TV shows, liaises with the chefs, because you lot can be a bloody nightmare.
Yeah.
Don't give you the recipes on time and everything else. But it's, without a great team around you, it doesn't happen.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are making...
So we're doing a little, something really simple, really. And it's a little tiny little dish that I absolutely love. It's cow's liver and onions. And we're going to do that with an item that you I got you involved in to taste it when it the concept first initially came about, which was basically just the mashed potato that we got. And this came about quite simply that I was up in Scotland, Airdrie, and I was with Ronnie Bartlett, who owns Albert Bartlett Potatoes. It's the biggest potato grower in the UK. And we were just discussing about bits and pieces, and we just bought a business together. There's a business called Spud You Like.
Would you like?
Yeah, so he and I bought it, and we invested in it, and now we're changing it into different bits and pieces. But he took me around the factory, and they use millions and millions of potatoes a day. I mean, it's just a vast setup. They've got a place in Airdrie, but also a place in Norfolk. And we're discussing bits and pieces, mainly about produce and about potatoes and about the way the whole industry's changed. And I was walking around, and they had this potato plant, this one that does mashed potato for all the supermarkets. So all your mashed potato you get from the supermarkets, your M&S, your main supermarkets, it's all produced on this one production line. Anyway, we're just chatting about how we could work together on bits and pieces and do bits. Thank you for your help, by the way.
Oh.
Doing bits and bobs. And I saw this machine. It's this multi-million-pound machine that makes like 10,000 packets a minute. I mean, it's a mental thing. And I said, look, we're struggling as a business, and you know with what's happening as well. And this was putting new stories on BBC this morning, that hospitality industry is getting a proper kick in at the moment, across all levels, from pubs to Michelin-star restaurants, everywhere. Everywhere's having to sort of diversify, it's having to change, it's having to adapt. And I don't think it's going to go back to how it used to be. And I think that the wise chefs, the smart ones, will understand that if you run a kitchen with 20 chefs and now you run it with 16, it's not going to go back to 20 again.
The national insurance has done for that.
Yeah, but it's accumulation of everything. So when chefs are costing menus and everything, they're thinking about their food. They're not thinking about national insurance. They're not thinking about energy costs. They're not thinking about numerous things.
Yeah.
You can when you start thinking about your ideas to do food and develop food, then you've got to be quite savvy and quite smart. So any little corners you can take, it's not cutting corners, it's just being smart.
That's where having great partners are so important, because I think as a chef, and a lot of people who go to college, you get taught how to do everything from scratch, and that's incredibly important. You've got to learn them skills. But at the same time, then you've got to go out into the world and run a business. And I had a bit of a problem where I had 1,000 covers to cook for at Twickenham, and I wanted to do a little shepherd's pie as a little garnish on the side. And I was talking to James about it, and I said, yeah, making 1,000 portions of mash is going to be a bit tasty on a Saturday morning before a Six Nations game. And that's when he introduced me to this product with Albert Bartlett. And I think, but the amazing thing, and I would say the same about the True Food stock that you just put in as well. These are ingredients that are made as you would as a chef. So the mashed potato is just what? Potato, cream, butter, sauce.
First of all, it's all British potatoes. So across Albert Bartlett is the biggest potato grower in the UK. The chips are all British potatoes. The mash is all British potatoes. That's a given. So if you want sustainability, if you want air miles, and you want to really concentrate on that, and then this product helps. Then you've got the quality, the consistency of quality. What you need in this game is, because it's very difficult to get the consistency right, because potatoes are varied for the weather. Chefs don't understand because you're too busy doing other stuff, but you order your potatoes from Wellocks, they come in, you don't know what the weather's doing with the potatoes, different seasons and everything else, and then you quickly realize when you're doing your mash, you go, why is it waxy this week and it's not waxy last week? They're all the variants are massive. So they have a team there that basically sieve out all these amazing potatoes to utilize in the mash. And then we wanted something that doesn't have anything in it other than potatoes, butter, cream, and salt and pepper. That's it. And that's what we developed. And basically, this is, now you use it. We use it for large events as well. I'm together with you at Twickenham. First year I'm doing it, next couple of months, but that's kind of 1,000 covers at Twickenham for us.
Yeah.
And the same thing with this. We want to serve it with some roasted proteins, roasted meats, that kind of stuff. That if I was to do this and get chefs to do this, it would cost me a fortune. We actually worked it out.
Drum sieving is 1,000.
It's a lot of drum sieving. We actually worked out in the restaurant that if we were doing this across all my sites, it would cost over 100,000 quid worth of staff.
to make mash.
to make mashed potato a year. So
I think the thing with this product is it is literally all the things you would have put into mashed potato anyway. And similarly with True Foods, you would make veal jus the way that True Foods make veal jus. So you can put the two together, and actually you're about to create an amazing dish, which I know with your TV skills, you could make this in 5 minutes flat probably.
yeah,
But this is a beautiful dish, which, you know, you'd have it in any restaurant menu and it'd be delicious.
it's so simple. It's not. I asked the chefs like you. I asked Claire Smith as well. She uses it at Cheltenham, and they were buying tons of it. And I said, look, we wanted a product that you could stand on its own and say that you've got to be proud of this sort of stuff. So when you look at it, it kind of looks not the most appetizing thing in the world. But when you start to heat it up and you bring it back together, which I'm going to get you to do this while I do the calves liver. When you start bringing it back together, it sort of comes back together and it starts to work. There's nothing in here. It's just potatoes, butter, cream, salt and pepper. Nothing else, as you know.
Yeah.
And then you use it for pie toppings and bits and pieces?
Yeah. I mean, I think like with all these things, you can add a little bit of something. I add a bit of smoked butter to it, just a little bit of flavour, but you know, or a bit of cheese to it. But yeah, great product, and that's what you got to do. You got to find partners when you're doing these sort of numbers, I suppose.
Well, I mean, you're doing the numbers anyway in the restaurants and stuff, but when you start doing the catering side of it, the large volume catering of it, which I think more and more chefs are going into, do you think now?
Yeah, well, I think that's there'll be lots of people who do all sorts of things, but actually looking at tweaking at the Wellocks conference last night, one of the big areas that Wellocks have moved into is stadiums as well. So I think it's one place that stayed very consistent at this time when you got to fight really to get every customer through the door.
'Cause I think the chefs, we just want consistency and quality. That's what we're trying after. And you see, the mash takes from basically like this. If we're doing large volumes, we put it in a rational, we'd steam it for 8 minutes and then just whisk it together. And if you whisk it together, once it comes back together, you can put it in a piping bag and it'll hold for 3-4 hours in the hot plate. But this just comes back together quite quickly. Within about a minute, this will be almost ready to serve. All we do really in the restaurant, because we're not allowed to commercially put too much salt in it, so we just put a little bit more salt in it, and that's all we need. And it brings back together and it comes back together. Easy as that.
Beautiful. So the next cookbook is the Saturday morning book.
Yes.
Which, I mean, that'll be incredible. Would you ever do a book which would have all the anecdotes of the amazing things that's happened and all the amazing people who've been on and all the stories?
I think it's one of those things that you look at in the future for sure. Whether you'd want to do it. Thank you very much. So she's brilliant. Every kitchen needs a Sam head.
Right.
But you see, that's come back together, and you can see that's now come back together as mash. But I think I'd love to do, I don't know, a little story about life, about food, and a bit like this. I mean, this was a dish that when I was 18 back in London, when I was working in London, I walked through Soho, and Soho on a Friday night was manic at about 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Restaurants were closed, but all the bars and everything was packed out. And anyway, I did this. I was walking along as chefs do with a tea towel and wrapped with the knives and everything else. I'm wandering along, and there was Alistair Little outside of his restaurant. And Alistair Little was sat outside with a bottle of wine, and he sort of stopped me, and we chatted about life and he was sat on the pavement. And about 1:30 in the morning, he said, "Come on, let's get something to eat." We walked back into his kitchen, and we did this dish.
Calves liver.
Yeah, and that was about 1:30 in the morning with the late great Alistair Little, the legend. You know, if you know about food really, and particularly in the 80s, he was like iconic in terms of the industry, his menus, his ethos, the way that he worked. It was legendary. So
That's incredible. I mean, most people it's an all-night Chinese or it's a kebab, isn't it? So to go in with a legendary chef, be reducing veal stock down.
and we just cooked a simple dish and finished off the wine while we sat back on the pavement and watched the world go round. And you know, things like that you'll always remember. And I think
those stories are so cool. I think it'd be great if you documented them in
I think stuff like that and about the Saturday show. I mean, the reason why the Saturday show I think works was we're in Dubai when Dubai really first started 20 years ago now. Yeah. I was there with Michel Roux Senior I used to work for, And we were sat there on this little island. It was called the World. They'd built this little pile of mound of sand. And I managed to accost him and ask him and badger him to come on the Saturday show because I'd just got the contract. And I knew that if we got Michelle, you're going to deep fry those, Chief. I knew that if we got Michelle on the show, then the rest would follow. And that's what happened. So he came on the show within a couple of weeks afterwards. Then we had Everybody Who's Everybody. And since then, Franson and everybody.
Oh,
That's when you were on.
I've cooked for Bjorn Franson and Claire Smith within a couple of weeks of each other. He never tells me who I'm on with. I think, but then also I always get put on with the 3 Michelin star ones, which makes me feel like maybe I tick a box, which is not a 3 Michelin star chef.
It's quite because we never tell the chefs who they're on with, and it was the same when you were on. And there's probably one guy that shakes more than anybody else, and that's Daniel Clifford.
Oh, really?
And you've got to hold his hand together. He's actually shaking when he's plating the food. But what I love about it, it's a privilege to be on with you guys and the young chefs as well as the elder ones that have been in the business. It's a privilege to be part of the whole thing. So we deep fry in the little shallot rings over here. I use the Roscoff onions to make the little sauce, and then the calves that we're just going to pan fry with a little bit of butter, so a bit of flour, and then the mashed potato, and that all comes together.
I think it says a lot about my algorithm, but on my Instagram, I just get that Chris Kamara one that comes up about George Best. That comes up every time on mine.
Yeah, I usually get the one because I'm severely dyslexic. So if anybody's, I know there's, guys that are at college at the moment. It's I be honest with you, I never passed a single exam at school. I failed every single exam at school.
But you've written 32 books.
Yeah, well, the minute I got to college, I kind of loved it. I fell in love with the job that I wanted to do. You can do the sage, please, Chief, as well. Thanks.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you very much. And I just fell in love with the whole job, the whole ethos of it. But it wasn't until I was probably working at, it was a place called 190 Queensgate, which at the time was, we used to, the restaurant at 2 o'clock in the morning was absolutely packed. And I learned a lot about business at that moment in time. And then that's really when the penny dropped about how you've got to make this all work. It's all very well doing the hours and everything else, but if you haven't got the business, it's never going to work. So we just deep frying some sage. They're going to go with the little onion rings. The calves there we just pan fry. Nice and simple. Serve it nice and pink. Like that. And then it's all about the sauce really that we just finish off. And then we serve with the mash. We'll put the mash in the piping bags. And I said this mash holds, and it'll hold for 4 or 5 hours in the hot plate. Yeah, it holds really well. Well, you guys have just introduced me to this bit of kit behind me as well. We've just got one of these on the Saturday show, which is mega bit of kit, but
that's the most incredible thing about this industry. James, you say you're dyslexic, but you've written 32 books. I left school with no qualifications. I had to go on the GCSE no, it wasn't GCSE, probably year 6 bite-size BBC page to learn how a comma worked when I started trying to write my first book. So I think if you work hard enough, you can achieve whatever you want. You don't need to be academic. You just need to have a bit of resilience.
I think it's that. I think it's about adaptation. I think it's about, a lot of chefs get stuck in their ways really and not willing to adapt and change instantly. I think that's the key. And also a lot of chefs have their opinions on stuff, which is fine, but this industry is massive. It's open for everybody. So, don't knock the guy that's opening a pizza shop. Don't knock the guy that's got the chicken up because it's probably more successful than you are.
Oh, yeah.
So, it's the smart ones out there, and there are a lot of smart ones. They're doing an awful lot of amazing stuff. So you just because somebody's doing one thing, don't knock them from it,
100%. I always think the chef I want to employ is the chef who really loves food. You can see I always think there's 2 sorts of chefs. There's one who's like the technician, but there's the other who just loves food and flavor. And if you find yourself one of those, they're the best people to work with because they love everything about it. Like I'm excited about mash, calves, liver.
Well, I just put a little bit of sherry vinegar at the end. So sherry vinegar in the calves liver at the end. I used to do this with orange at Alice Little as well. So there's a little bit of orange in there as well. But you can I'll let you finish off that because all I've got in there was just got the calves liver. We're just going to put one here. So we'll probably put that one on. And then the mashed potato, which I'll put in the piping bags. Like I said, we do 2 different types of mash. I do the luxury mash, which is this one, and the plain one, which you can put on top of pie fillings and everything else. But go over to the stand and taste the chips, because they're 100% British, and we're really proud of them. They're mega. So you see the mash, holes in the piping bag, and all it is just potatoes, cream and butter, nothing else. Feel free to have a taste. Whoa. That's that one. Happy with that?
Sauce is delicious.
And then,
Good veal stock, because it makes your lips stick together.
yeah, and then the sage and the onion rings you just put over the top of here.
A little bit of acidity from that sherry vinegar just cuts through. Beautiful.
I think, you know, food, it can be as complicated as you want, but I think in this business, you know, it's open for everybody. We've got multiple sites now across the globe. We've got Barbados, we've got Spain, we've got India, we've got Lingham Arms, Chick Glen. It's just, there's just stuff everywhere. So what we try and do is just serve the customer first, and their number one priority is the customer. And spend the time, chefs never do that. Spend your time watching and looking. So when I take over a site, I don't even go into the kitchen. I don't go to anybody next door. I don't go to restaurants that are nearby. I don't go to anywhere. I sit in the car park like some weirdo. So when I took over the Ligham, I sat there for a week and watched the customers 14 hours a day for a week. I just sat in the car and I was there for a week, just looking at the customers going in and out of the hotel, seeing the demographic, what they're looking for, what they like, listening to them with a hat and just listening to them, seeing what they want, and then go for it. And then when you go for it, you know, we did 1,000 covers at the Ligham on Sunday.
Wow.
So with 17 chefs. Wow. So
Good business.
yeah, so anything like this you can do, and just a simple little sauce to go with it. So you got your simple little Madeira sauce with your calves liver, peaked with that little bit of sherry vinegar, and that's your dish.
Beautiful. Wow.
I'll put that one there. That's that one. Serve it nice and pink, but don't reduce the sauce down too much, because
No.
you know it's too heavy.
So it's a rich dish, but I think with the acidity of
But calves or onions, and it, you know, if you think about this and think about what a lot of chefs need to think about when they're costing as well. You mentioned national insurance. You've got to think about energy. You've got to think the price of food's gone up. You've got to think about everything. The whole way of food costs have totally changed. And if you can do something that's consistent and always good, then, and if you use it, and Claire Smith uses it, then
must be all right.
it'll be all right then.
Yorkshire. That's a Yorkshire saying that. It's all right. It means it's really good.
Yeah, and I think I'm pretty sure it works. And you know, we've got great response for it. And with the business has only been going for a few months, so we haven't been going long. But come over to the stand, have a taste of the mash, taste of the chips, and see what you think.
And head over for a signed book as well. That's over on the Albert Bartlett stand over there. Thank you very much, James. Ladies and gentlemen, James Martin.
Thank you very much.